Shalom, shalom, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight? Tonight, I will be your host. My name is Eliana, and today we're going to talk about being a man of Torah. So, obviously, I can't talk about that because I'm not a man, but I'm going to present to you somebody very special to me. We both came to Torah around the same time, same feast, same everything. So, we kind of shared this journey together. Um, and I present to you David Forte from MSA Miami.
Can they see me now? Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
they see you.
Shalom, guys. How you doing? It is a pleasure to be here one more time. I was already once before helping Herodimoa, but here we are again. Sorry about the quality of the video. I am on my phone, but it is what it is. We are here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us today. Guys, don't forget to like this video, share it. We're going to talk about something super important. I think something that the youth need to hear, especially the men, because I feel like during these times, men are getting attacked a lot by like the feminists and stuff like that. And I feel like it's very important to share that this point of view that David is going to share with us today. I'm going to start out some prayer, and then David, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. Abba, thank you for this moment, for giving us breath of life, for the opportunity to gather here together. We ask that your spirit guides this conversation, and that brings light and truth and encouragement. May your Torah be the foundation of our hearts, shaping us into the men and women after your will. Bless everyone that's listening, wherever they are, that they may feel your presence and be strengthened in their walk with you. In Yeshua's name, amen. Okay, so David, how did you first come into Torah?
Okay, it's kind of a long story, but I always say long story short, and then I always say the longest stories ever. So pretty much, I was pretty much born into Christianity. So whenever I was born, my family already went to church. So I think that's already a good advantage to begin with. It's better to be born, knowing Torah and learning about Torah, but I rather Christian than nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So about around 2020, I would say, right when the pandemic hit, one of my he's still my best friend actually. The pastor that he had in Cuba, so when they lived in Cuba, his name was Alfredo. Some of you guys do know him. The pastor that he had from Cuba, when he came to this country, he was a little curious about the feast and everything that the Bible talks about. That back in the day we thought only the Jewish people did, and then he was a little curious. He started looking online, and he found EMC Shalom. He started going there, and then since he started going there, he let Alfredo know and started talking to him about Shabbat and the commandments and stuff like that. And eventually, he told me about it. Once he told me about it, I said, well, show me some proof, show me the Bible evidence about it. So immediately he did tell me about it, and for some reason, I really connected with it, and I didn't really doubt it. I didn't really doubt it at all. Even as a Christian, I never really doubted God like that, but there was definitely a few things where I was like, well, this is a little bit iffy. I don't know about that. I don't know about this. But for some reason, everything clicked right off the bat here. And then we started actually going that was in the time of the pandemic. So we started going with the other pastor, which his name is what is it? Pastor Omar. We started going with him because all the churches were closed. So he started doing it at the house. And actually, the first time we went to his house, Pastor Diego went over and asked us all of it for the first time. He explained a few things. I didn't know who Pastor Diego was at the time. I just thought he was just another pastor. And then, funny enough, most of you already know, I know Pastor Obadiah since like seventh grade. So we went to the same middle school all throughout middle school, high school. And we used to think he was a little crazy because, he was wearing he would wear the kippah and he would wear the peyotes to
The
school, shaved
peyote.
head. And I was just like, man, what is my boy doing? But whatever. Then he eventually, and then find out he goes to the same church. So after we spent a few months with Pastor Omar, we started going to EMC, just to be more with the youth. You know what I'm saying? Pastor Oma had like 10, 12 people. They were mainly adults. So we decided to start going there mainly for the youth, and then that's how we're here now, years later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that we both came during Sukkot.
The first time we both went, it was during Sukkot, yes, in that farm over there. I do
Okay,
remember
so
that.
you would say that you always like took seriously this path, or was there like a point where you're like, no, but then what happened that you're like, okay, no, this is the way to go. Like my life, my path depends on Yeshua.
I would say, like I was saying, since I was born Christian, I was
Mm-hmm.
very firm on it. There's definitely times where you could say, strained a little bit. If I'm butchering some words here, mind you guys, when it comes to Bible stuff, or I'm usually a Spanish speaker, but I'm doing good. So there was definitely times where I strained away, or definitely fell in a way, but I was never like full out in the world, if you want to say it like that. Like no matter what, maybe they offered me drugs many times, man. I had easy access to wherever the atmosphere that I worked at in restaurants. So people that know, it's a very bad atmosphere, very tempted with, it's very easy to access drugs, alcohol, partying. So I never really did that kind of stuff like that. Definitely, there was a time where, right before starting Torah, actually, where yes, I obviously, like I said, didn't go really into the world, but I was definitely lacking a little bit. Like I didn't want to go to church. I would go on a Sunday and stay outside in the parking lot. A lot of people know this already. And watch a little bit of the preach. So whenever my mom came out of the service, she couldn't be like, "Oh, you weren't inside or whatever." I'll be like, "Yeah, it was. The pastor was talking about this, this, this." So I definitely knew. And if somebody was like, "Oh, you believe in God?" I would always say yes, and I wouldn't be doing crazy stuff. But definitely started straining a bit where I feel like if I would have continued down that path and didn't find Torah, then I think it would have definitely affected me in the long run.
I think like you seeing so many like youth and I miss in Miami like really made you like be like, wow, this is where I want to be.
That definitely helped 100%. And when we started, it wasn't that many. It was maybe what,
Mm-hmm.
15, maybe 15,
Yeah,
18. Now there's like 52 of them, 54.
literally.
It's like almost half the church. So it's definitely has grown. And I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, me too, me too. Okay, so now that we know, you know, some of your backstory, in your eyes, what does it mean to be a man of Torah?
What does it mean to be a man of Torah? If I laugh, guys, it's because my wife is around somewhere. So if you see me laughing, it's because of that. I am a man of Torah. I prove it. Um, what is it to be a man of Torah? Well,
Like in
there's
your eyes,
definitely, huh?
like your opinion.
In my opinion, there's a few factors.
Okay.
Obviously, first of all, you gotta follow Torah. So not the word wouldn't have any meaning. You're a man of Torah, but so obviously, definitely follow the commandments. Another big thing for me is 100% doing. How do I word it? Doing what you really say you're doing, right? Like Pastor, I don't know his saying in English. In Spanish is a little easier, but a man of Torah is somebody that is really doing what they're saying they're doing in church and also outside of church. So maybe you go to church, and at church you're like this little angel and you do everything, and then as soon as you're out of church, you get out on Saturday and you go clubbing. So that's not really what I think a man of Torah also defines a man that, in my opinion, is looking for the classic. I want to call it like that, the classic biblical terms. To find your wife, marry, have a big family, teach them about Torah. Be respectful to your wife. I'm a very old school kind of guy. So obviously the main thing is definitely following Torah, the commandments, believing in Yeshua and also God, and doing the good deeds in the world.
Okay, so your first point was to be a like a man of your word, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I agree because if you're gonna say like what God says is that if you're offering and then you do something else, it's like why are you being a hypocrite?
A
You
hundred
know,
percent.
like it's so important to actually be a man in your word. And yes, Pastor Diego does talk about that a lot because it's like if you don't match your words, then what are you really doing?
And even so, if you don't even if you're not even a man of your word with the people here, like man to man, where they can see you, where you can see them, where you can talk to them, why would you even do your word even more with God? That doesn't obviously he sees you, but he's not around. So if you're not really a man of your word with the day to day and your day to day life, then little by little you get used to that, and you'll do it even less and even less. So you're being a hypocrite. And I feel like even for us that believe in God, it's better to be. It's actually better to be fully out in the world than to be here. That's the verse in Spanish. I don't know how to say it in English, but it says if you are warm, he will kick you out. It's better to be
He'll throw
fully
you up.
throw you. Well, I didn't. Okay, there. I didn't know in English it said it like that.
I'll search it for you. Don't worry. Keep talking.
So if you're really gonna be doing this, do it for real. If you tell God, okay, I want to start serving, I want to start believing, I want to start following the commandments, it's better to keep your word and do it fully, 100%, than to start it, get out, come back, start it, get out, come back. That's gonna be way worse in every aspect for your life.
For sure. I was trying to find the Bible verse while you talked. I think it was like Revelation 3:19. It's talking about lukewarm.
There you go, lukewarm. You see,
Being
there you go.
lukewarm. Yeah. And it's also important because the Torah, like, it teaches that, like, the man has to provide, the man has to do this, the man has to do that, and, like, let it be your, like, his word that it's matching God, like the praise that he's giving God. And that's why there's so many commandments for men that have to complete, like, visual. And then, like, God knows how he created them. And that's how you guys were created. But it
100%.
is super important for, like, for the next generations, because, like, let's say, like, my dad, he never taught that to my brother. So
Yeah,
then, but my brother's realizing now, no, I need to be a man of my word, I need to do this because now my son is going to look at me. So I feel like your next point was like for your wife and your kids. And that's super important that you realize that you're like, no, I have to be a man of my word. No, I have to do this because the Torah commands me to do it. And, like, completing that for your wife and your children, because they're gonna be the ones looking at you.
100%. And it also goes with the fact, like I said, I'm a little old school on that, and I feel like old school way is the way that the Bible designed it. Like I'm a very firm believer of you go work, you go earn the money, and you have your wife, like it says, happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
Obviously at the beginning for a lot of couples, especially here in the U.S., it's a little bit differently, but that's absolutely the goal.
Yeah.
And if you have to work harder, like a lot of dudes nowadays are soft. I always say this, and we're at church there. For example, very small example. As soon as when I'm teaching on Saturdays for the jóvenes, as soon as the class is over, it bothers me greatly when I see a girl try to pick up a chair or a table to organize, and I'm like, no, the guys do that in today's society, and I say society, and even at the church, because we can't really deny that the kids or the young men coming up or the girls are on TikTok all the time, on Instagram, and they're seeing all these things and hearing all these things at school. So it's our job that on top of telling them, showing them. If you guys, none of those kids there or jóvenes at church can tell me, oh, but you don't open the car door for your wife. That's the biggest lie on the planet. Everybody knows I open since I met my wife and we started, talking. She's never opened a car door in her life. That's not gonna happen. And maybe one day you're tired, and maybe it's raining, and you have to get extra wet to go around the car. It doesn't matter. Back in the day, guys weren't saying, "Oh, I'm a little tired. Oh, this, oh that." So as the generations go by, and obviously it's the system. The devil has been trying to soften men,
Yes.
and
Like making them like
it's
feminine. Like, it's
they're
weird.
making men feminine, and then they're making girls trying to say, "Oh, you're
Masculine.
your own boss. You can do your thing."
Yeah. You don't
But
need a man.
deep down inside, you think a girl wants to go out there and work, and on
No.
top of that, go home to cook and all that stuff. No, you don't want to do that. This is
No.
what the world has been
Feeding.
feeding and implying to kind of change everybody's perspective, but at the end of the day, it's not really that. So I'm
I
a
saw
firm.
a picture of
Go.
your what you're talking about, because there's a picture of like a female changing like her own car tire, and the guy being like, "Oh, that's what you have to do." I feel like women, they're like, "No, I want to do my own thing. Like I want to be able
That's
to
a
like,"
lie.
and like the men is just like, "Oh, okay." Like, no, like step aside. Like, I got this. I am the man. And I feel like that's
That's
the insecurity that men are going through. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know because I was never raised like that. My dad is another very classic man, but that's also important, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And now that I have Torah, I'll even raise my children like that. When I'm raising my kids, I'm not gonna allow my daughter to be picking up tables and picking up chairs or lifting something heavy, and my son is just there chilling like a villain. No, he ain't doing that.
So
And
you
then
make your son open the door for your daughter.
yes, he has to learn from a young age. I'm gonna open the door for mom, and then he's gonna open the door for the sister, and eventually one day, when he finds the one, he better do the same. If not, he's gonna be in big trouble. So
No.
I'm a firm believer in the old classic ways, and that's how you can see that over time the biblical it is biblical. The Bible talks about it all the time. And back in the day, maybe we don't even have to go that far. Your grandparents did it pretty much like that. Little by little, the generations start, I would say, falling down to the world. And it is our mission and our job to teach them and show them the example that the way to do it is really how the Bible talks about, And that's also a big part of being a man of Torah, you
Yeah.
know.
And we say in the Shema, like every single time, like these commands that I give you today shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children. So that's taking part of being a man.
Being a man, it's a lot of work, you know. Look, my wife is laughing because, but yeah, but as a man, you enjoy it. When you do finish a hard day of work and you get home and your wife is there and you realize that she didn't have to go work and she's at home waiting for you, that gives you that sense of pleasure and happiness, that you got to achieve that. And all your tiredness suddenly goes away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
You know,
but like I hear you. I
it's the
don't.
same thing. Maybe when your husband gets home from work and you're there cooking a meal and you see him eating the meal, you're like, I'm so glad that I get to stay home to make him a home cooked meal every day
Yeah, yeah,
and make him warm food and not have to eat out and, have his simple things go a long way. And
yeah.
I feel like it goes both ways. And deep down inside, that's how God created us. That's what we truly do enjoy and like. The world is just trying to shape everything backwards to, take down this new generation coming up.
Yeah. So that the women would be the one to work and the man stays at home.
And the
Like,
man stays at work. Like that is just baffling to me.
yeah, it's crazy how I'm seeing that a lot, and like a bunch of memes and TikToks, and it's just
Hey,
like
there is some memes though. There is some memes though. I'm just kidding.
crazy.
Some the memes that goes, if your wife was making 300K a year, would you stay at home?
Oh
And then you
yeah, and
see
then they're just there.
the guy's just cooking it up. I mean, it is tempting, but you wouldn't feel like a man at the end of the day
And like the woman wouldn't feel like a woman. She'd feel like, well, I'm
because
really
that's
the one
that's not
providing.
the way it was created.
And that causes divorce
That causes big time divorce,
because they're
and it
not.
also causes harm on your children because now what they're seeing is that that's the norm, and when they grow older, so it just creates a chain down the road, and everybody is gonna keep continuing to do it wrong. So it is our job to fix that as best as we can with God's help.
So I know that we literally were talking about this, but like I want to go more into like detail. Is how how is the biblical man supposed to be different from like this world, like this creation that the world is doing for men?
First things first, that is a little bit overlooked, is definitely prayer. I feel like usually the women is the more spiritual one in the relationship, but you're still the head of the relationship. That's how God intended it to be. So if you're a man that doesn't pray, if you're a man that has no knowledge of the actual word, how can you even, let's say, teach your children and even defend yourself or your family from anything out there? For example, prayer. I pray for my wife even though she's asleep in the morning, as I am a man. I go to work. I pray for her every morning as she is asleep. When I'm on my way to work in the car, I pray as well. And then before we go to sleep, I always pray as well. And we do Shema together. On top of that, a big other thing that gets overlooked besides the spiritual aspect is a lot is, I would say, protection. You know, God made us to protect our wife in all aspects. And a lot of guys out there, I'm not gonna call them they're wuss. I'm not gonna call them a wuss, but there's definitely goes with that hand to hand of that femininity you're talking about that they have kind of started growing into. For example, protecting my wife, taking the blame for my wife. It's another big thing from the Bible. You know, I was actually watching the other day the show about David, and when David's son dies after he gets the woman that he shouldn't have gotten, but you know it is what it is. She says, "Oh, it was my fault," and he says, "No, it was my fault. I'm the one that decided." She's like, "Yeah, but it's also my part." He's like, "No, the full blame is mine," which is a big mistake that our homie Adam didn't do at the beginning. You know, when God told him, "Hey, look what you did," he's like, "No, it wasn't me. It was her. It was her." That's
The
not a
woman you
very
gave me,
the one you
not,
gave
not
me,
taking
homie.
responsibility.
God, he didn't even take responsibility for it.
Um,
So I feel like that's another big thing that man of Torah should have. Is learn to take the blame and protect your wife from anything possible, physically, spiritually, and also treat her like a queen. You know, she's definitely, like I was saying, very simple stuff. I have a list on my phone that I don't need it anymore because now I already know everything about her. But when I started getting to know her, it might you guys think it's a little, but it goes a long way. I would write down her favorite flowers. On the top of the list is what she's allergic to. You know, so nothing ever
yes,
happens.
yes,
You'd
they'll
be
be your
surprised.
fault.
And little things like that, you know, be very detailed and treat her like a queen that she is. In the world, we get very used to no, like I said, the women are independent; they could do it. Nobody.
You
What I
can
like to
text me
say is
first because that's what I hear. Oh, you can
selfishness.
text me for like, oh my
She
god.
can't protect nobody. You know, you're supposed to protect you. Well, she can protect the children, not like that. I'm not saying they're weak,
Uh-huh.
but it is your job. You know. And another thing about being a man of Torah that differentiates from the world is selfless. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, you said it right.
Like you don't have selfishness. You're selfless.
Yeah, selfless. Yes.
You're always gonna give up whatever it is for your wife. For example, I'm usually hot during the night to go to sleep. My wife's usually cold. So either I make sure she's covered properly, you know, or I'm gonna be sweating. But she's gonna be the one having the most comfort. You know, if we're out on the street and it's a little cold and she forgot to bring a sweater, you think I'm gonna keep my sweater while she's cold? No. So that's another thing that the men out there are low key lacking nowadays, and the men of Torah too. But they should have it in their arsenal.
It's something that should be taught. Like I feel like Pastor does a really good job, like trying
Hmm.
to like tell the youth to like, hey, be attentive. Like, hey, you guys do the chairs, not the women. And Pastor, like, I posted a TikTok and we became super viral because of it because I taught. Well, he was teaching.
I know
And it was
exactly
like,
where you're going.
yeah, it was like what's mine is hers and what's hers is hers and what's ours is hers. And the men were like, no, 50-50, this, that, like so many hate comments. And I'm like, wow. And the wife is like, this is why I got divorced. And then it was just fighting. And I was just like, oh my God,
That's
the men aren't getting it.
they're lost. The blessing comes from your wife. So if you're not giving everything to your wife, you're not gonna be getting blessed enough. And there's a saying my wife likes to say. I don't even. It's not biblical, but it goes with it goes with that. I don't know how to say it in English though. It says in English it would be how would you say it in English? A woman that doesn't spend, a man that doesn't prosper. You know, so that's a
Amen.
Colombian saying. The Colombians out there. For all you homies trying to marry a Colombian wife, get that in your head. But it is true, you know. If think about it, usually when a man thinks about building, I don't want to say an empire, but you know, building a future, who does he think about? He never thinks about building a future for him. He thinks about, I'm gonna build a great future so my wife and kids are good. Nowadays, men just wanna be, they're selfish. I'm gonna build this to have this and do whatever I want and not have to tell nobody anything. But in reality, as a king, who do you want to be good? Your queen and your children and everybody. So as a man, you definitely gotta, everything is hers. Oh, we're gonna pay 50-50. What is that? If I'm the one working, of course she's not gonna be paying anything. Because she's supposed to be treated like a queen. If you always see in the movies, you got the king ordering and all that, but who's always by the side? The queen's right there. And if she gets upset and tells some dudes some stuff, they're gonna get killed too. So that's another big thing that a bunch of homies nowadays are lacking.
And definitely when the point that you said protection, um first Kings 2:2-3 says be strong and show yourself as a man. So I feel like protection, like men towards like women, like let's say like when me and my husband were getting to know each other, like let's say like I would mess up on like an edit and he'd be like, "Oh no, it's my fault." Then I'm like, "You're gonna take
What?
the fault for me? Like really?" And they're like, "Yeah, like it's my fault. Like I'm responsible." I'm like, "Really?" Like
That's
wow,
crazy.
like, it's in my head. I'm like, "No, it's my fault. Like I'll take the blame for both of us." And he's like, "Sit down. Like it's my fault."
I got it.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa!" And like the women have to be able to like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." Like don't, because the women also, we create you guys in a way. Because if I teach him like, "Oh no, it's my fault and it's my fault, it's my fault," he learns like, "Okay, like I'm gonna step back because I'm not letting him be a man."
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
protection is even Peggy's feeling very passionate about this
It's fun.
um, topic as well. But definitely protection is so important because I feel like let's say like we were walking in like we were walking towards the beach, but then there's like a bunch of cars in the highway, and I literally was the only person that helped that woman out, and there was men everywhere. And her baby was literally towards the sidewalk, and she was with the car. And then I was like, no man is going to help her right now. This is crazy. They're sleeping. They don't want to be like, no, she got it, and it's like
They're lacking.
it's just so bad. I feel like this world is just feeding that into men, and the men are saying, "Oh, she has to text me first," and it's like, no, men, you have to like conquer.
Hey, you gotta go out. You gotta go out there and hunt. We're hunters.
Yes, hunters. Like you can't wait for the women to come to you. Like what? That's what they want. That's what this world is changing the roles, and that's not right.
And little by little, there's in Spanish it says how un remanente, no? How you say the remnant? It's only a few. That's why you see that every day, and we see with our youth too. You see me when I talk to them. I talk to them like, man, I'm like, you guys are 13 years old and you're old enough to want to do this and want to do that. So you got to be old enough to be responsible.
Yes, sir.
How are you gonna
Mhm.
allow that girl to pick up that chair, or how are you gonna allow that girl to take out that garbage bag that's heavy, and you're just there gaggling with the other homies? I do not allow that, and that is just something I was taught. My dad always told my mom would never let her do stuff like that. So that's also another big thing. So it is our job as teachers, and not even teachers, any guy out there at church. Whenever you see that, you follow the example. If all the children see all the men doing it properly, they're gonna follow right along. Protection is another being part of being a man of Torah that I forgot to mention earlier is just being brave. I was talking to this about the holiness on Saturday, and being brave is not doing something you're not afraid of. Bravery only comes truly to show when it is something you're afraid of, and you still go along with it.
And do it.
I was telling them, you guys think David wasn't scared to go and kill the giant, Goliath? Of course he was, but he knew God was by his side, and he was brave enough to do it. Maybe if he wasn't brave enough to do it and wasn't secure that God was with him, then he wouldn't have killed the giant, and he would have looked like a loser, and there would have been no Bible story about David.
You
But
wouldn't have been king.
yeah, 100%, he would have just been another regular dude. So bravery is not some dudes go like, yeah, I do this and I do that. I'm like, but are you really afraid of that? You're only really brave when you like. God forbid this is a situation aside spiritually on the physical realm, in the physical world. Anything's gonna happen to my wife, you best believe, without a doubt. I'm gonna jump in front of a car. I'm gonna go ahead and fight whoever I have to fight, or there's an animal, whatever. I'm not just gonna be like, yeah, protect me, babe, or let's go together. What? What type of softness is that? You know. So a lot of dudes have definitely lost that along the years, little by little. It's what the devil is definitely trying to do in this new generation that we are having.
And thank God for the Torah. Thank God because He chose us, to be awake during these times, and that, like the generations to come are gonna have like you, my husband, Owalia, and the Julian, and the rest of the men to teach the next generation, hey, that's not how you treat a woman. That's not how you should do. This is what you do to
100%.
your wife. And then, like that, I feel like from us, from pastors forward, the generation's definitely going to make a huge impact and change. And that's why we're getting so many youth. I feel like because something has to change. Like we cannot, like they cannot, men cannot always stay like this. Like they're getting ruined by the world, and here we're building up. And I
We
feel
are
like
definitely building up 100%. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're good, you're good. I couldn't say building up for the life of me. I was like, but I was like, I can't talk English right now. But no, yeah, it's just crazy. But I do love how I'm seeing more of the guys, being more involved and helping out the girls, being gentlemen and not staying quiet, and like you speaking on like, hey guys, how are you letting the girls do this? Because let's talk about the single men right now. And let's say they wanna, continue with this girl. Like, how are you treating her? How are you treating, because it says like men treat these women as if they were your mothers and your sisters. So okay, how are you treating your mother and your sister at home?
100%.
How is your father teaching you? Oh, he's not doing a good example. I need to change. Let the change start with you. Because my dad, he doesn't know, and my dad wasn't taught that, so he didn't teach my brother that. But my brother was like, oh, this is how to treat my wife, this is how to treat my kids. Like, this generation is changing. Like, no, that's not how I should do it. That's not how I should teach them. That's not how it should be. I need to be the change now. And your dad, he's amazing because he's literally so sweet, such a gentleman. And that's why in this topic I chose you, because you always would help the girls out. Like, you would see like if a guy is acting a certain way and you're like, no, protect, no, this, no, don't get this chair, no, don't get this table. So I feel like you are a good example of that. And thank you so much for being here again.
It
And
is a pleasure.
and and honestly, like the world wants to damage them, but the Torah, we're building them.
And that's why it's another important thing. Like, based on that, you see what the Muslim people are doing. If you see, these people have children left and right. And you might say, well, that's another big thing. A man of Torah should have a good legacy.
Mm-hmm.
How many, what do they teach in the world now? Don't have children. Oh, have a cat. Oh, have a dog.
Have a dog.
So if everybody has a dog, and all the other people that are against Israel have a bunch of people, what are we gonna do?
We need to build an army, fam.
Hey, hey,
We need to
yo,
build an
it
army.
is our job. That all of our ancestors, even in the Bible, everybody had a bunch of kids. I know it was different times, but we definitely got to put in that effort. That's another big thing about being a man, putting in some effort.
And Trump is giving money for mothers. Did you see
That's
that?
what I'm saying. So have
That's
as many as you
definitely
can.
good.
We all gotta have as many children as we can, and the more children we have, and we teach them properly. I can't stress it enough. Like, you saw me on Saturday, I was like, Santiago, he's a great kid. But and it's okay to joke around. I make my jokes. You guys know that. I definitely joke around. But Santiago, Jeronimo, Jordan, all these, they're not kids anymore. They're what, 13 now? 13?
Teenagers. They're
They already
meant
did the
to
bar
do the bar
mitzvah.
mitzvah though.
That's what I'm saying. So legally by the Bible, they're men already.
13. At 13, you're a man already.
That's it. So, and it's easier nowadays. Back in the day, you would have to pick a sword and go out there and fight. You don't gotta be doing all that.
Kill
It's
animals.
a lot simpler, a lot easier.
Yeah.
And even with that, they can't really do it. You know. So I definitely try my best to enforce them. Pastor does it too. Pastor's from the army. In Colombia, he went to the military. That man doesn't play. And I like that, you know?
Do you think the army would help men? Like in Colombia, you have to
Yes.
be 18, and in Israel, you have to
You
join
have to go. In
the
Cuba, too.
army.
In Cuba, it's
Do you think,
mandatory.
do you think that that would like
That
affect?
100%. 100%. Imagine you're there. My dad tells me the stories all the time. You can ask my wife. My dad went to the military school when he was 11 years old until he was 17.
Wow,
So from Monday through Friday, you're there without your parents. You don't even have like a break to go home.
wow,
Monday through Friday, you're there. You go home on Saturday, and on Sunday, you're coming back. For what? 6 years of your life?
wow.
So then kids complain, oh, I don't have enough time for this. I don't have. Imagine that. At 11 years old, that's saying like, who's 11 years? Younger than Geronimo. And you're already out there, they wake you up at 5:30 with a whole trumpet.
Crazy.
Dun, 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 and you're gonna wake up and you gotta do your bed. And if your bed is dirty, you cannot go visit your family on Sunday. So when you look at it, it's like, wow, that's really tough. You don't have to go to those extremes, but it definitely helps you shape yourself to be
Discipline. Men need
on.
discipline.
Discipline goes. I said that in the class too. That's crazy. Discipline beats motivation. People say, "Yeah, man, I'm ready to do it. I'm gonna go do it tomorrow." That only lasts you a few days. What happens on the fifth day when you wake up and you're like, a gym is a very good example. The gym. You've gone to the gym. Your husband likes to go to the gym. He goes. I like to go. My wife goes too sometimes. We go. But when it's the fifth day and you haven't seen any progress, you're like, I'm not gonna go anymore. So if you're not disciplined, you're not gonna keep doing it. So your motivation only takes you so far. Another part of being a man is discipline, and that's what they teach you in the army. And even as it is in the regular world, it also goes like that to the spiritual world. If you're a mess here in every aspect, you're gonna be a mess spiritually as well. So if you never have time to do anything, if you're not organized, when you're in your spiritual life, you're gonna be the same. You're gonna be all over the place. You never have time for this. You never have time for that, which is something I gotta get better at. I'm very organized, but usually I'm very busy. So I go, well, I've been working all day, so I'm just gonna chill. No, even if you worked all day long, you gotta get home and I don't know. Let's say right now Sukkot's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if I get home and I'm like, babe, to my wife, I want to build a sukkah. You go ahead and do it. What type of softness is that? Last year I built it for her, and she's like, "Have you ever done it before?" I'm like, "Nope," but I'm a man. I'm gonna do it right now. Like, let's go to Home Depot, buy some wood, and get it going.
Mm-hmm.
That's another good thing about and that's something for the single homies out there. Women love that. Only my wife loves that. I don't talk to any other women. When you are very resourceful and you can figure,
Resolve quickly. Yes.
you gotta resolve quickly. And they're
Yes.
like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I thought of something." When I was trying to conquer, how do you say conquest?
Conquer.
I sound like I'm back in the night times.
Try
When I
to.
was trying to conquest my wife, or conquer my wife. No, you don't say that. Conquer. Well, when I was, started to talk to my,
Trying.
how do you say?
Like trying. Like
Yeah, when I was
talking
trying
to
to, I usually say when I was trying to sauce her up, but I shouldn't say that to the youth, or try to,
you.
for
You can
examples.
Google it.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Well, as a man of Torah, like you said, they're manners hunters. We're not gonna lay there and chill there and wait for the girl to be like, "Hey, how are you?" No, don't be a creep either. Do the hand on the wall crazy. That's the crazy move. Don't put the hand on the wall, the lean on the wall stuff.
Oh no.
Don't be doing that. But part of that is charming her and figuring out stuff. Like when we were still talking, that we were in, like we didn't start
Pursuing
officially,
your wife.
officially
Pursuing.
pursuing your wife. There you go.
Yes.
You gotta put some work in. And as a man, you like when the girl's a little tough. That goes for the ladies. If you see a guy likes you and you right away immediately are like, oh, okay, guys don't like that. Because like why was it easy? Like
Uh-huh.
for example, like it goes back to back in the day, guys had to go hunt. It wasn't easy, but when you hunted a deer, you're like, damn, now I got food for the month. You feel good about it. So my wife used to be, no, I don't like you and this and that. Look at her now. You know, she's my wife. So, but it definitely took work. Obviously, it was a lot of prayer as well, and it was God's will. I'm not saying you go out there and go try to get at any girl either. The one that God has for you, He has for you. But even for that one, you got to put some work in. And even after you're married, you still got to put the same amount of work in. That's another big thing. Guys put the work in to get the wife, and once they're married, the sparks go, they forget. And there's never a flower that was bought again, no more doors are open. And that goes back to the discipline. If you, maybe you're tired, it doesn't matter. You still got to do it. Because the same way you used all that energy to get the girl, you got to use it to keep the girl.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if I had this put some work in or not.
He did. He did. He did. All the way from Colombia, when I wasn't feeling good, he would make. He'd be like, "Mara, can you help me, please? I want to get her chocolate." And Mara would literally go
That's
chocolate
see,
to get
homie was
him.
thinking. Some other guy would be like, but she's in another country. I can't really do anything about it. Yes, you can. There's always a way.
If he wanted to, he would.
If he wanted to, he would, and that's part of being resourceful.
Yes.
You know, we all got invited to a wedding once when we were kind of getting to know each other. So I know the person that did the wedding. So I was like, yo, you better put me in the same table. So when we got there, she thought it was a coincidence. She's like, it's from the Lord, but not really. It was me, girl. You know.
That's so funny.
So little things like that definitely help you along the way. You got to be resourceful. You can't just be some. You can't just lay there and wait everything to get to you. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay. So, what advice would you give the young men that are starting, to walk into Torah? Like, what would you tell them? What advice would you give to them?
I think first of all, definitely, which is something that helped me a lot. Find besides looking for God, find a good teacher. A good because maybe you start doing Torah, but the pastor that's at the church is not. You know, maybe for example, I relied a lot on Oalia, which is the youth pastor, but he taught me a lot. He's a great example. You know, if you have a good example to guide you or to lead you, besides God Himself, obviously, it's a phenomenal way to start, I believe. Because the first thing when you start tours, you have a bunch of questions, And I remember when the first time I went to Tevila at the beach, I was like, "What is going on here? Why are these people with these horns blowing over here?" Everybody was looking at us. I was like, "Oh hell no, we're crazy." Mm-mm-mm. So, so until you're really secure with your identity as Israel, you're gonna feel a little bit of, oh, what is that? That's weird. What are they gonna ask me at work if I wear my CC? Especially, this is more for the men. The girls don't really. But as a man, you gotta wear the CCs, and maybe at the beginning you're shy, you don't want to do it, but eventually you can't go out without them. They're part of
Who you
your
are.
your dress code, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like at the beginning, the best advice is definitely find a good, I would say, leader, and also
Like
read
a
it for
role model?
like a role model. And also very important, do your own research. What I mean by that is like don't just go based on like, oh, this pastor said this. Okay, sure, I believe the pastor, but let me read it for myself. Let me study it for myself. Let me see if what it says here it's really matching with what he's saying. And I also feel like at the beginning, don't rush yourself. It is definitely a process. Some people do it from night to day, and that's amazing. But some people it takes a few weeks, few months. I did it right away. Like I was saying earlier, I started reading about Shabbat, and I read many verses that said on Saturday is Shabbat. And I was like, what is there to ask? This is what it is. But my mom and dad that have been doing, Christianity for like 20 plus years, they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We gotta really see it. We gotta really read it. And it took them a few weeks. My dad even like maybe a month or two. But eventually he realized this was the truth. So at the beginning, definitely don't beat yourself up and try to do everything at once. Take it one step at a time. Do your own research, which is very important, and definitely is good to have a good role model at the church or definitely at home that can help you out, give you tips, and you can learn from.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And then, okay. So basically, like for men, I feel like it's just like a lot all at once. So like let's say like they have to uh learn that how the world they've been teaching them it's wrong. One.
Hmm.
Then they have to be the ones to provide all the time.
Hmm.
They have to be the ones to do this. They have to be the ones to like I know some men it's very like oh my god like circumcision. Like I know that's like oh
Oh,
my
I
god.
forgot. That's another big one. You see, that's another big one. That's like, I don't know about that. At first, I would always say, well, see, I don't know how to say it in English either.
What?
I'm circumcised in the heart. My heart is already circumcised. I don't have to do it
Yes.
in the flesh. But then I learned by myself. That's another good thing about Pastor Diego, like I was saying about a role model. He tells you have to do it, but he's not gonna force you or be like, if you don't do it, you'll be kicked out of here or this or that. You know, it's like that's why I said take it one step at a time because, like I said, for men, it could be a lot at once,
Hmm.
which is how it should be. You know, God made us to be responsible.
To handle tough because that's tough.
But that's how God made us.
Hmm.
Now He gave women the ability. You guys are the ones that bring children to the world. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to handle that. So God knows why He created men in a certain way, women in a certain way, and whatever. The Bible says that there's no test hard enough that He gives you that you cannot pass. So if He gives you that test, it's because He knows you can pass it with His
Yes.
help, obviously. So definitely, you gotta take it one step at a time.
For that one, yeah. And it's like in this is a really hard word to say in English. Ecclesiastes.
I don't know. Ecclesiastes. I'm so sorry.
That one.
I'm cooked in the English Bible.
Bruh, whatever, I tried. And then it was like whatever, that word I just said. 12,
Ecclesiastics.
yes, 12:13. It says, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man.
That's it. Because
Period.
technically speaking, what is involved with my wife? If you do the commandments, what does that involve? Making your wife happy, having a family, treating other people good.
Your
So that's
identity.
the what I'm sorry?
Identity.
Your identity, putting on your seats, getting circumcised. So he sums it all up in that because at the end of the day, that all the commandments are what you're supposed to do. And he sums it up in that because what else is there to do? Like we have Solomon. Let's say Solomon, King Solomon. He was the wisest person on the earth because when God asked him, "What do you need?" or "What do you want?" he said, "I want wisdom." So since he gave him wisdom, he gave him everything else as well. And Solomon is the one that, because a lot of men say, "Oh, I don't know, maybe I'm different. Maybe I experienced this and I experienced that." King Solomon experienced everything there is to experience. He had all the money, he had all the wisdom, he had the women, he had the horses, whatever. And at the end of the day, when he does in the Proverbs, he says at the end, to sum it all up, none of this is worth it, and you should just follow God. So
Man.
that bothers me a lot when a bunch of people or men or young, they're like, no, but maybe I can do it differently. I just want to go and try it and see how it is. I'm like, brother, I'm telling you from my own experience. And I can tell you from his experience, and everybody here, you're just gonna waste your time, and you're gonna come back and say, "Oh, you were right." So that's pretty much the bottom line of being a man of Torah: following God and doing His commandments. Because in those commandments, everything that you should be doing for your own good and for your own benefit. It's not even for your worse. It's for the better life of yours. It's doing His
Generations.
commandments. That's it.
Literally. It's simple, but
It's
it's
simple but hard.
yes.
Well, it's not hard. It's just we're men, I mean, we're overall we're human. So we're meant to sin. If not, we will be perfect like him. So,
That
but it
is
is
true.
good.
My last question for you tonight is, what is your prayer or your hope for the next generation of men of Torah? Us girls, we call you guys mots.
Yes, this girl from Helen is the one that came
Yeah,
up
she
with
says mots.
the mods, the man of Torah.
Mm-hmm.
My wife looks great, beautiful right now. She's there.
Oh,
My prayer, or I'll give some advice, and then after I give some advice, I can do a prayer as well,
thank you.
if it's okay. The best advice is, like I was saying, it sums it all up. Follow God, do His commandments, but bring back the old school masculinity. Goes a long way. Everything is included there. What is it? Treating your wife as you should be treated, protecting your wife, protecting your children, even other children at church, and definitely try to be manlier. Believe it or not, it sounds dumb and simple, but a lot of guys out there are soft. Bring back the manliness from back in the days, and find yourself a good role model. And if you are a man that is manly, teach the ones that are not. It's no big deal, and you'll be definitely helping the others. So when they have their own children, they can teach them the same thing, and hopefully it continues going on and on and on. And then I'll do a prayer review. Damn, I'm gonna pray in English. That's crazy. I've never prayed in English ever. So if I butcher some words, please excuse me.
You're
But
okay.
here we go. Thank you, Lord, for this beautiful time you've allowed us to have, my Lord. Thank you because you've allowed us to bring together two people, my Lord, that love you very much, and many more that are watching online, Lord. And I ask you, my God, that every man that's out there watching this video today or tomorrow or whenever they watch it, that you allow it to reach their hearts, my Lord. Allow my words, Lord, that they're not mine. They were your words spoken through me, my God. Reach everybody that it needs to reach. And allow it to be helpful, to be of benefit to their life, my Lord. Don't allow any of these words that we said here to go in any wrong or negative way, my Lord King. And help all the new generation and help us help them become more man of Torah like you ask us, Lord, in your word. And I know with your help and all the people that are coming together, my God, to serve you and your people, we will do it together, my Lord. Allow all this men out there, my Lord, that have all these, see, I forgot the word, all these temptations, Lord. Allow them to be strong, my Lord. Allow them to, in that moment of temptation, of weakness, pray and find your way, my Lord, and allow them to run away from it. Like Joseph, he ran away, my Lord. And I ask you to help them run away from any issues they're having out there and help them find your way in your path, Lord. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, amen, amen.
Amen. Thank
And
you so
it's kind of hard spreading in English. I'm not gonna lie to you.
much. Thank you so much, David. The last thing I want to dedicate to all of you guys that are watching is Psalms 1:1-3. And it's, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, but his delight is in the Torah of the Lord. So thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for being a part of this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned. Don't forget to share this video and give us some comments, some feedback if you guys want us to talk about more of these themes. I think that's the word. These topics. Thank you guys all for watching.